Hi everybody, it's Tatiana. I am back. This is part 2 of my third quarter 2018 reading wrap-up. If you have not yet seen part 1, check the description box below. This video is going to be, it's going to start with the graphic novels that I read in the third quarter. I want to say Dewey's 24-hour readathon took place during the third quarter, and I decided that during Dewey's I was going to read only graphic novels because my graphic novel unread pile was ginormous, and it's still kind of large. Like, I think I have 10 right now that are still in the stack of unread. But yeah, when you see what I read during Dewey's, you'll see it was much bigger than that. So these are not in the order that they were read, but I will try to give them to you at least in the order for the series that they are a part of. So I read Giant Days Volume 7, and this is by the authors, and written and created by John Allison, illustrated by Max Sarin, and then there are inkers and colorists and letterers and cover artists. They're all on the front page. It's a lot of people who are involved in this. If you are not familiar with the Giant Days graphic novel series, it is a slice-of-life graphic novel series that takes place with a group of 4 people who meet each other when they are in college, and the shenanigans and mishaps and things that take place during that time and how they deal with it, with this budding friendship that they have and the support that they have for each other. And I thoroughly enjoy this graphic novel series. I would love, now those of you who follow me on Instagram, you know I'm a huge cartoon watcher. I would love if this became a cartoon series, an adult cartoon series. Like, it would be so awesome. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this volume, and on to the next one. I also read volumes 7 and 8 of Lumberjanes, and again by a lot of people. Okay, it's the same, it's one added on 7. Like, the contributors for graphic novels go deep. It's written by Shannon Waters and Kat Lee, and then there's a different illustrator. There are 2 different illustrators for 2 of the volumes that are in here, and then colorists and everything. I enjoy this series. If you don't know what this is, if you remember the show Salute Your Shorts that came on Nickelodeon back in the day, this is kind of what it reminds me of, with the kids and the friendships that they build while they're there, the little things that happen while they're at camp, but then add supernatural and magical elements to that, and that's Lumberjanes. Thoroughly enjoy, and will be continuing with the series. Next, I read Saga Volume 8, and I really don't remember. Now, this is kind of telling, because I said after I read Volume 7 that people were falling out of love with Saga, but I was still enjoying it. I read Volume 8, and I don't know if it's because I read it too fast or maybe I split it. I don't remember a lot of the things that took place in Volume 8. I know some things that are happening and some people who are looking for each other, but I don't 100% remember everything that took place, and that is not normal for me as a reader. I typically do a really good job of holding on to different stories, and it also could be because I read so many graphic novels during this 24-hour period, but I don't remember a lot of what took place in this. But I'm still going to continue with the series because I did enjoy it after I finished it. I also read Lady Mechanica. Now, I do remember I did not finish this during Dewey's. This is Lady Mechanica Volume 1. I started this during Dewey's, and I think I finished it at the end of the following week because work got crazy. And I picked this up because there was a teaser, an issue teaser that was released last year during Free Comic Book Day, and it took forever for this to come into my comic book store, but that was fine once I got it. I read it, and I am really intrigued by how this is going. I was worried as I was reading some of it because the plot line is so, like, it's really branching off, not into different characters, but just into different things, and whereas the teaser that I got seemed very focused and centered on one particular thing. This is not, and I like it. I was scared that I wasn't going to like it or be like, or think that it was just too much going on, but I really enjoyed this, and I am looking forward to getting volume 2 whenever that becomes available. I also read The Tithe volume 3. Now, I have been waiting on this volume of The Tithe for 2 years, and it finally came in. I went to the comic book store and I was picking up Coyotes, and the owner came out and said, wait a minute, I have something else for you in the back, and it was this. So I literally squealed. I'm so glad that the people that my comic book guys like understand who I am and how I am. But I was so excited to read this, and then once I started reading it, I was very disappointed because only this much of the graphic novel is the Tithe series. The rest of this is Eden's Fall. And Eden, if you remember from 2 years ago, which you probably don't, is the city where the graphic novel Postal takes place. And I stopped reading Postal because they had like the last issue that I got, or bind up graphic novel that I got, which I think is volume 5. The entire volume was dealing with white supremacists, and it was just a whole bunch of white supremacist jargon, not jargon, but spiel and filth in that volume. And so I said, okay, I am done with this. But it does include Eden's Fall, which was okay. It gives you the backstory on what happened to one of the agents, the FBI agents in the Tithe. But yeah, I was not pleased with this at all. I was super disappointed because I was enjoying the story of the Tithe, but I was just super disappointed when it ended as abruptly as it did, without giving us a true concluded story. And it's split half and half. Half is the Tithe and half is Eden's Fall. And Eden's Fall is its own series. Like, if I wanted Eden's Fall, I would have bought Eden's Fall. So yeah, very disappointed with this. And this actually, like the 5th volume of the Tithe, this may be going to Second and Charles, because I also read volumes 2 and 3 of The Beauty. I love this series, period. If you are into things that have like medical mysteries, they're not really mysteries, but part of me wants to say medical warfare, but that's not what it is. If you don't know what The Beauty is, it's a graphic novel or comic series about an STD that's called The Beauty. And while other STDs like chlamydia, gonorrhea, things people don't want to get, everybody wants, well, not everybody, but a large population of the world want to get The Beauty, because if you get The Beauty, it makes you beautiful. If you're overweight, it makes you thin. If you're not muscular, it defines your muscles. When you get hurt, you heal quickly. There are so many people who want it, and then something happens or starts happening to some of the people who have contracted the STD, and that's where the story picks off. And in volume 2, we leave the main characters, and you get some of the story of some of the other people who are affected by The Beauty. And then in volume 3, you get some of those other people, but you also get back to some of the characters in volume 1. I love this so freaking much, and I cannot wait for volume 4. I am so ready for volume 4. So, okay. And then lastly, we have the ebooks that I read. Y'all, I read a lot, and I'm kind of proud of myself. For the ebooks that I read Pretty Mary's All in a Row, and I cannot remember who the author, I have to go get my Kindle, because I can't remember who that author is. Hold, please. Okay, Pretty Marys All in a Row was by Gwendolyn Kista, and I do have a review of that I will link in the description box below, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that right now, but the time is, we're approaching Halloween. If you're into creepy reads, that would be probably a good one. If you're into creepy but not really scary reads, that would be a good one to read. I also read The Unkind Hours by Dwayne Alexander Smith. He is the author of 40 Acres, and this is his second novel, I do believe. And I am realizing or think that my reading experience with Dwayne Alexander Smith is just going to have me ending books of his not knowing how I feel. Like it's some kind of reader's ambiguity that comes along with reading his novels. I don't dislike it. I don't 100% like it. I enjoy the reading experience, but I just don't know how I feel when I finish reading his novels. And that's exactly the way that I felt after reading The Unkind Hours. He is also, I believe, an author that's going to have a lot of open-ended stories where there's no full firm conclusion, and I don't dislike that aspect at all. It's only available on Kindle right now, which is the same way that it was with 40 Acres. Eventually I think it's going to be released in print, but yeah, it's definitely something. It's a thinker. It's something that's all I'm going to say. And then the last owned ebook that I read is Radio Silence by Alyssa Cole, and that's the fifth book that I've read by Alyssa Cole in 2018. I am totally all in her bibliography. I really enjoyed that. If you've never heard of that, it is a novella. It's under 200 pages, and it's a series, and the series takes place where what happens is all of the power goes out, as far as we know, in the U.S. We don't know if this has impacted the whole world or not, but the characters we are following are based in the U.S., and it's what is happening to the people in the U.S. now that there's no power, there's no available water, there's no way to preserve food. It's literally the U.S. being taken from 2016, I think, when this is written, into the 1800s with no power, no nothing, and how people are behaving, how people are getting by. And yeah, I enjoyed the majority of this this novella. Again, there's the issue of where is this chick's period, but also there's the issue, and again, I don't know how I would deal with this if I were in that situation, but the whole romance part of it and having so many issues, or the issues that the main character has on the way to where they end up in the story, and to get there, and a lot of the prevailing thoughts in her mind are how fine this other dude is. Like, he's so attractive and he's so smart. Ooh, his body is nice. And I just don't know if being in that kind of situation you would feel the freedom to have those kind of thoughts over and over again, or maybe it's the relief of having gotten some kind of additional assistance that allows your brain the freedom to have those thoughts. I don't know. But that's the only thing that I really had question with, outside of, again, where's this chick's period. So if you just read, if you have not read an Alyssa Cole novel, pick one and read it. I also read 2 e-arcs that I got from NetGalley, and one was My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite. I think that's how you say her name. I'm not 100% sure. My apologies if that's not correct. I do have a review of that in the description box below if you want to check that out. It was just okay for me, but the insights that it gives to the character's background and the perceptions of what beauty means in society versus brains, and yeah, all of that. That is good. So I would suggest it for that. But if you are looking for a thriller that has like a shocker in it, cancel that. You're not going to get that in this book. But I have a review below if you want to check that out. And then the last ebook that last e-arc that I have completed, and there's a review of that also, is The Black God's Drums by P. Dehele Clark. Is that his name? If I'm wrong, there'll be a caption. I don't know how to pronounce his name. And that was another book that I enjoyed, but it was, number one, it was too short for me. I enjoyed some of the characters, but it really felt too short. I think there was more that could have been explored in this first novel when we're first getting introduced to this world, as well as more that could have been explored with the development of the characters and the gifts that they have. I don't think that was expounded upon as much as it could have been / should have been. I don't know. But there are other people who are reviewing this as well and may feel differently. Check out my review if you want to see my full thoughts, and then check out some other folks' reviews too. Same with the other books that I have reviewed. And that is the end of this reading wrap-up. I will say this. I will probably be doing a separate wrap-up for October, November, and December, because if life goes the way it typically goes for the end of the year, I will be getting a lot more reading done, because, you know, once winter hits, I like to snuggle in and just read a book. So that's all that I have for this video. Thank you for watching. If you're still here, you are the real MVP. Have a good week, weekend, whenever you see this video. Peace out.